Hello and welcome back to Stop and Go F1 for this, our driver ratings for the Imola Grand Prix, a race I enjoyed an awful lot. But now it's time to give each of the drivers a score between 1 and 10. Before we get into it, remember to like and subscribe, and of course, a huge shout out to the members: Dakota, The Joyous James, Robin Myers, Cinnamon Strudel, Michael Johnson, Mr. Eurovision 1986, Philip Doganzik, Flandy Skick, No Edam on Sandwiches, and Sarah Jowett. If you want to become a member, click the link in the description either on YouTube or on Patreon. But let's get into this. Come on, let's do this. Here we go, everybody. Starting with everyone's favourite team, it's Stake F1 Team Kick Sauber and Gabriele Bortoletto, who was very good in qualifying, but then just nothing in the race yet again. So qualified in 14th, snuck through to Q2, as we saw with that whole Ollie Behrman red flag thing going on. Just snuck through into Q2, finishing up 14th, obviously benefiting from Colapinto's crash to gain an extra position there because he didn't set a time in Q2. But then in the race, just went backwards and was 18th last of the guys who actually finished the race. And, you know, it's a shame because anyone who watched my videos for a long time, especially the F2 videos last year, will know how much I think of this guy. I think he's absolutely fantastic. And we're yet to truly have that standout moment for him this year so far into the season. You know, even in this race here, we'll speak about Hulkenberg in a little bit, but there was moments this race where Hulkenberg was just electric. He was absolutely fantastic. And we're yet to see that from Bortoletto as of yet, and I think he definitely has it. But, yeah, it's not been shown just yet. It definitely was not shown in this race. Maybe it'll come around in Monaco next week. Let's wait and see. But for this one, I'm going to have to give him a 4, because I just think it was a bit nothing, and we don't give rookie tax out anymore. That rookie tax season is over. We're moving on. So his teammate, though, Nico Hulkenberg, qualified 17th, finished the race in a very impressive 12th. Spent parts of the race in the points as well, was overtaking, racing people. Wonderful stuff from Nico Hulkenberg. Just missing out on the points. Give him a 9. Thought it was a very good performance from the Stake F1 Team Kick Sauber car. Cross to Williams now, and Alexander Albon gets 10. He was fantastic yet again. 7th in qualifying, 5th in the race. Back-to-back 5th places now for Alex Albon. Really, really good stuff from him there. Fantastic to see. Was in the podium positions for a lot of the start of the race, and you're thinking, can he hold on to this? Got screwed over a little bit towards the end with the whole Leclerc thing. You know, maybe if Leclerc hadn't pushed him off, Hamilton wouldn't have got through, and maybe, who knows where he would have been. Maybe 4th was possible, but nonetheless, 5th place in the Williams is a wonderful result. Well deserving. A 10 out of 10. Well done, Alex Albon. His teammate now, Carlos Sainz, didn't do as well, but like a lot of, well, not a lot of drivers, but there's at least one driver I can think of off the top of my head, the team split the strategies, and he was forced onto a 2-stop relatively early on, and the 2-stop was not the way to go. Carlos Sainz qualifies in 6th, but finishes up in 8th place. Had a better qualifying than Albon, and was doing pretty well at the start, but yeah, just difficult to recover from that the 2-stop decision. But there you go, I gave him a 7. I thought he's getting better all the time, and I think maybe if he wasn't on the 2-stop, would he have been up there with Albon as well? I mean, that would have been very interesting to see, like the duo of Albon and Sainz fighting the duo of Leclerc and Hamilton in the Ferraris. But yeah, Williams in a great place right now, and Sainz seems to be getting more and more comfortable as we go on, and heading into this European leg of the season, he's going to be at some tracks where he has some incredible confidence, and I think hopefully over the course of the next few months we will see some Carlos Sainz classics coming up. But if we want to talk about classic, Isaac Hadjar, my goodness, he's fantastic, you know. He is so good. Qualified 9th, finished up in 9th, spent a lot of the race in the top 5, was doing tremendously well. Made the medium tyres work really well at the start. Really, really good stuff. Blown away by him. He's getting a 10 out of 10. And you know what? He was a guy last year in Formula 2 that, I'll be honest, I didn't really rate that much. even though he was the championship leader for quite a lot towards the end of the season, it never really tickled that part of my brain that goes, this guy's really something. But so far this year, he's, obviously the thing in Australia happened, but since that moment, he's just got on with it. He's just got his head down. He's had some good qualifying. He's had some good races. He's scoring points every other race at the minute for the last 6 races. Really, really great stuff from Isaac Hadjar, who just continues to impress. And, any day now he'll get the call up to the Red Bull seat to ruin his career. But right now, he's in a good place. So let's celebrate this for now, because Isaac Hadjar is having a great time. His teammate, Liam Lawson, though, a very, very anonymous race. If I'm honest with you, I don't remember ever seeing him. Qualified 15th, finished up in 14th. I can't tell you what happened in his race. I haven't got a clue. Still not at the Liam Lawson of old. And by of old, I mean not even this time last year. This time, 8 months ago? It's been a long 8 months for Liam Lawson. But yeah, it's not going to plan. And this was another race of just nothing from Liam Lawson. I gave him a 5. But yeah, I mean, we all discussed it with his time at Red Bull. We could all say, well, the car is a difficult car to drive and, his confidence has been knocked. But I honestly believed that when he went to the Racing Bulls seat, we'd see a comeback of sorts. And we just haven't seen it. It's like when Gasly got booted out of the Red Bull team, went to AlphaTauri and became like one of the best drivers on the grid, or when Albon got booted out of Red Bull and he had the year out and he came back in the Williams and was absolutely fantastic. I thought we'd see the same from Liam, and we're not. He's just not performing at all anymore, and maybe it still is a confidence thing, and maybe he's not there, but right now, you're being outclassed by a rookie, and I know Liam Lawson hasn't got that many races under his belt either. Going into the race, how many races do you have? Like 12? Something like that? But, you have the experience here, and you were very good not too long ago. I don't know what's going on with Lawson, but it's not looking good for him. And I feel sorry for him. There's a part of me that just feels really bad for him. But I'm hoping that he'll find that confidence there. But if you want to talk about feeling bad, we can feel bad for the Haas team, because it was a bad weekend for Haas. Ollie Behrman qualified 19th. Of course, I think he got a bit screwed over in the qualifying with the red flag thing. From the onboard, it looked like he crossed the line way before the red flag was actually shown on the LED boards. But there you go, that's just how it is sometimes, I guess. So he was 19th in the end, finished up in 17th place. Seemed to be an issue with him as well, because he pit under the virtual safety car, and a couple laps later, he's pitting again. So something went wrong there, not entirely sure, but yeah, just a very bad weekend for Haas, who have been having quite a few good weekends as of late, but there you go. So I'm going to give him a 6, and we'll move on, but it doesn't get any better, because we go to Esteban Ocon, and he qualified in 18th, so just 1 place ahead of Behrman, and eventually just didn't finish the race. Had to pit on lap 1, so had an incident there somewhere, and then had to pit with a technical issue in the end. I'm just going to give him a 5, and we're gonna move on, I think, because there's really not much to say. Hopefully they come back better next week. Franco Colapinto, his first weekend back in Formula 1, his first weekend with the Alpine team, and a weekend to forget, it has to be said. Of course, had the crash in qualifying, did qualify 16th, so got through Q1, but then crashed at the end of Q1, of course, and then didn't participate from there, obviously, and started 16th, finished the race in 16th. I very much felt like, especially at the start of the race, he was very cautious, which might just be a hangover from the crash, but he was acting not the Franco Colapinto we know and love. And I thought, especially on the opening lap, where he got overtaken by like 2 or 3 cars, I mean, that's not Franco Colapinto that we know from Williams, and I think that was him maybe trying to find a bit of confidence with the car, and who knows, maybe towards the end of the race he had that confidence and we didn't see it necessarily because the gaps were gone at that point. But yeah, I'm going to give him a 5. I'm going to be like, right, Franco, come on, let's get this going, because Franco Colapinto, if we look at his time in Williams, he was a win it or bin it type of driver, and I love a win it or bin it type of driver, But if you're going to be a win it or bin it type of driver, you've got to either win it or you've got to bin it. And in this race weekend, he binned it in qualifying. Then in the race, he definitely did not win it. He was just nowhere. And I hate a driver who's just nowhere. Franco, come on. Get your elbows out. Have some fun. In FP2, oh my God, I loved him. He was fighting Verstappen. He was fighting Norris. He was fighting Russell. I was like, come on, let's go. Then, it just didn't go. But we've still got 4 races on the Colapinto calendar to see how this goes. And who the hell knows who's in that car after those 4 races. There's a high chance it could be me at this point. So, you just get a knock on the door. It's like jury duty. You're in the Alpine this weekend. Oh, Jesus Christ. Flavio's going to shout at me. But there you go. That's the world we're in now. That's it. One day, you sat talking rubbish on YouTube. The next day, you're Alpine's second driver. It's just the way of life. Pierre Gasly now. Pierre Gasly qualified 10th, ended up finishing in 13th place. I think Gasly got screwed over massively at the start. I think it was Leclerc. Leclerc was getting his elbows out right proper this weekend. Leclerc went for a move down the inside. Didn't leave Gasly a whole lot of space. Got forced out wide, went across the gravel trap, dropped down from 9th to 14th, and then was just trying to recover from there. And I mean, that was a good qualifying gone to waste from there, but in the end, 13th's not too bad. I mean, you have the Sauber ahead of you that you should have really beaten. And then there is Alonso, but the Aston was a bloody enigma this weekend. We'll get into that in a little bit. But yeah, Gasly, I'm going to give him a 7. I feel that's okay. Hopefully a better result for him in Monaco. I'm expecting big things from him in Monaco, because I think, of course, Monaco is a qualifying track, and his qualifying has been relatively good this year. So we shall see. I'm a big fan of Gasly, and I hope big things come for him, hopefully very soon. Right, Aston Martin. They are the team I want to speak about the most this weekend, because what the hell is this team? That's question number 1. What the hell is Aston Martin? Of course, they are the team on the Formula 1 grid with unlimited potential. Any day now, Aston Martin could become the number 1 team on the grid, and nobody would bat an eyelid, because they have always been the team with unlimited potential. But this season, thus far, they have been awful. Just the worst. A very, very, very bad team. They turn up this weekend with a huge upgrade package. We went over it on Friday. There was loads of stuff in this upgrade package on Friday. We watch free practice and we go, well, they've put a load of stuff on the car. Unfortunately, it's still dreadful. Then qualifying comes round, and my goodness gracious me. Aston have found some pace. Lance Stroll qualifies 8th. Fernando Alonso qualifies 5th. Unbelievable from Aston Martin. You think, here we go, lads. Aston are back. It's time to unleash that unlimited potential. And then the race starts. And Fernando Alonso was doing quite well. Lance Stroll went backwards. Then after the first pit stop, they just disappeared. Then after the second pit stop, they did have a bit of a comeback. Ultimately, though, from 5th and 8th, they still scored no points this weekend. Aston Martin, the ultimate enigma on the grid. Lance Stroll, 8th to 15th. How the hell do you even score that? 8th to 15th. Wow. Four? Is that too harsh? Is 4 too harsh? Because I've written down the number 6. No idea where that came from. Right, I'm going to give him a 4. The story of Alonso, I think, is a lot better, because Alonso had a full-on mental breakdown halfway through this race. Coming on the radio, I'm the most unlucky driver in the world. Could be accurate, to be fair to him. But then from there, fought back like the legend he is, just missing out on the first point of the year for Alonso. I gave him an 8. From 5th to 11th, you shouldn't get an 8 for that, but he's in an Aston Martin. And Aston Martin are rubbish, apart from in qualifying, where they eliminate both Ferraris by using the medium tyre. What happened this weekend? Mad, lads. Mad. He's getting an 8. I'm moving on. I can't with this team anymore. Aston Martin, go away. Kimi Antonelli, his first ever Italian Grand Prix. Well, not the Italian Grand Prix, a first ever Grand Prix in Italy, which is where he's from. And a first ever DNF. A disappointing qualifying for him in 13th place, but does make a good recovery throughout the race. Had a battle with Hamilton that lasted forever, but was in a good position until his car stopped working. So I'm going to give him a 6, because I think he was doing well, and of course the DNF was not his fault. And he will bounce back from this. I thought very, very good. His teammate, though, I think will be very disappointed this weekend because his streak comes to an end. Up until this point, George Russell had been in the top 5 for every race and every qualifying of the season. He continued the top 5 because he was 3rd in qualifying, but then in the race would eventually finish 7th. A wonderful start from George Russell. I thought he had the best start on the grid. The issue for him was he just got a bit boxed in. He had Piastri directly ahead of him and Verstappen to the side, so he couldn't capitalise on that great start. Had a beautiful duel with Lando Norris. I thought that was some fantastic driving from him to have that duel from there. But then his tyres were just gone. Had to dive into the pits, then was committed to the 2-stop. From there, didn't really go anywhere. Ended up finishing in P7. I'm going to give him a 7. There we go. Across to Red Bull now, and Yuki Tsunoda had that very, very dramatic crash in qualifying. Thankfully, was totally okay. Started in the pit lane and had a good recovery, I felt, to a P10. So got 1 point for the team there. I mean, realistically, when your teammate is on the front row and wins the race, you should be doing better. But that being said, he is in the second Red Bull, which, as we've seen time and time and time again, is just so hard. So yeah, it's a tough one because I think, Imola is this track we came into. You can't overtake an Imola. There was loads of overtakes in Imola. But I thought he did very well. I'm going to give him a 7. There you go. Hopefully a better weekend for Yuki next week. Lots of people going into next week hoping for a better weekend. This man isn't, though, because he was perfect. Qualified P2, missing out on pole by less than a tenth of a second, as most pole positions have been decided this year. Got the lead into the first corner in one of the greatest opening move overtakes we've ever seen in the 75 years of Formula One history. A unbelievable move. Every time I watch it, I don't think he's going to make it. And then he does, because of course he does. But you just look at it and you go, he just defies the rules of physics that he's able to do that. But he did. And then from there, he just dominated. Virtual safety car helped him out massively, of course. And then he had the gap when the full course safety car came out to pit in there as well, but controlled the restart incredibly well and just won the race. Driver of the day, as voted for by the fans. I think he got the fastest lap as well. It was like watching 2023 Max Verstappen on our screens when the Red Bull was perfect and Max just ran away with everything. It was a proper throwback race to a couple of years ago. Beautiful stuff. 10 out of 10. Wonderful. Cross to, I was going to say Mercedes then, it's not Mercedes, it's Ferrari. Lewis Hamilton's first race in a Ferrari in Italy. Obviously, bad qualifying for both Ferrari lads, but a wonderful comeback from both, including Lewis Hamilton finishing up in 4th place, one of his best race results of the year, if not the best. Outside of sprint races, I think that might be his best race position of the year, and came from a 12th on the grid. I thought he did fantastically well. As I said, most of the race he spent battling Kimi Antonelli, and then after that, after the pit stops, both Ferrari lads just had such fantastic pace. Really, really good stuff to see. And a wonderful job. I'm going to give him a 9, though. I think save the 10s for when they get the podiums, because they're there, they're capable, but we shall see. Charles Leclerc up next. He qualified in 11th, finished up in 6th. Very similar story to Lewis, actually, apart from the fact that for the majority of the race, Charles Leclerc was the lead of the two Ferraris, including up until the dying laps. I mean, he had the incident with Gasly early on, then had the incident with Albon afterwards, was just driving furious by the end of the race itself. Fell down to 6th. I'm going to give him a 7 out of 10, because this is not the Charles Leclerc I love. This is not the Charles Leclerc that got the Stop and Go F1 Driver of the Year 2024. You know, the cool, calm, collected, thinking man's F1 driver. This was a very, very angry man, which is not becoming of a Charles Leclerc. He's not supposed to be angry. That is Max Verstappen's job. But yes, this was an okay race for Charles. We'll see if he can repeat his Monaco magic this time next week. Come on, Charles. Do it again. It may be a bit more exciting race this time. Across to the McLarens now, and Oscar Piastri qualified on pole position, but then finished up in 3rd place. My goodness, I said this in the race reactions, and I think I'll say it again, but his main rival this weekend was not Max Verstappen or Lando Norris or George Russell. It was the McLaren strategy team, which handed him dud after dud after dud. Went for the early pit stop and put him right into some traffic. Fought all the way through the traffic to get back towards the front of the grid. Once he was at the front of the grid, they made him pit again, which was just wonderful stuff. Then, God, what even happened next? So that put him back behind Lando Norris. Then, and I think it was behind Albon as well. He gets back past Albon, is hunting down Lando, and then the safety car comes out. Lando pits, Oscar doesn't. So then you have Oscar Piastri, 10 laps to go, in P2. Max is on new tyres, Lando's on new tyres, Oscar's on old tyres, and they just go on, Oscar, have a fight. And of course, he doesn't win that fight, but he does end up finishing in P3. I mean, I thought, despite everything, I thought he did very well. I thought he handled the strategy incredibly well, and it would have been interesting to see how Lando would have coped with that same strategy, because what we've seen so far this year is Oscar Piastri is the kind of guy, when he's overtaking cars, he gets on the back of them and tries to make the fastest move he possibly can, even if it's a place where the overtake shouldn't necessarily go, i.e. Australia on Lewis Hamilton, Saudi Arabia on Lewis Hamilton, overtaking drivers at corners where no one else overtakes drivers. Whereas Lando Norris's approach to overtaking is a bit more calculated, where he will follow for a little bit, see where they're weak, and then dive on that. So Lando tends to take a little bit longer to overtake drivers, so I don't think he would have coped as well with the strategy as Oscar did here. Overall, though, they should have, at least one of them should have won this race, realistically. He did also give away the lead at the start, could have defended that a hell of a lot better, broke very early. I mean, no one was going to break as late as Max did, but I think he broke even earlier than anyone else thought. But there you go. I think an 8 is okay for Oscar Piastri. I'd written down a 9, but now I'm going through it in my head. Despite the fact that he coped with the strategy very well, there was moments where he could have been better, and I think an 8 is an overall good score. Lando Norris, though, qualifying in 4th, finished up in P2. Realistically, should have done better in qualifying, but in the race itself did very well. As I said, with George Russell, some beautiful driving from the both of them there. And again, beautiful driving with him and Oscar Piastri. Of course, he was on the far superior tyres at that point, but nonetheless, very good move from him. Overall, an okay race. I'm going to give him a 9. There you go, everyone. That's the driver ratings for Imola, done and dusted. 10s for Albon and Verstappen. Lowest scores go to Gabriel Bortoleto and Lance Stroll. There you go. Right. That is the driver ratings done. What's coming up next on the channel? Well, let me tell you. Tomorrow we'll have the 1981 Stop and Go F1 retro review of the Austrian Grand Prix. That is coming out tomorrow. And then, as I've already said, next weekend is the Monaco Grand Prix. F1, F2, F3, all of that will be here on the channel right now. If you missed any of our coverage of the F1, F2 or F3 of the Imola Grand Prix, it's available for you right now as well, so go check that one out. Until then, though, have a good one. I'll see you later. Goodbye!